How you doing? And welcome back. We're here with Jarriesse Blackmon in the station today, KCSB 91.9. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us today, Jarriesse.
Oh, no, thank you guys for having me, man. It's going to be a really fun interview, and I'm excited to, and dive into these interviews and these questions with you guys.
Yeah, it should be great. So you have such a contagious smile, and, you're one of the hype men on this team. How have you really embraced that role, and how has it further influenced your love for the team and the game itself?
I think for me, that role and that kind of energy that I like to try and bring to the team kind of started when I first got to college. One big thing my dad told me was one thing you're going to realize is when you get to college, not everybody can be the man. It's not going to be the same as it was in high school. You're not going to get all the same amount of shots. You're not going to get the same opportunities. So you need to find your way to try and make an impact on this team and help influence the team. And my natural character is just to be, charismatic and energetic, and that's something that I wanted to bring into my game as I got into college. As my roles kind of progressed or digressed throughout the years, whatever that case may be, I've always wanted to remain the same as I am on the court as I am off the court, and that's bringing energy and trying to keep guys happy and influenced.
Yeah, and you mentioned that energy, and previously in your past couple seasons, you've come off the bench here at UCSB. How have you embraced that sixth-man role, and how does the team dynamic change when you get onto the floor?
So the best thing I could say is just being a vocal leader. I think one of the things that I'm really good at is communicating, and that's something that I try to bring to the table. A lot of the times when you get into the game, when I come into the game at least, is guys are tired. The game's been going on for a minute, so guys kind of get lost in the game. And my role on the team is just to go in there and just make sure that we're staying on top of things, revitalizing that energy. It's kind of a new face and a new type of offense, a new flow to the game that I try and bring, which is up-tempo, hard-nosed, defense-oriented, and hopefully bringing in a lot of rebounds for the team as well.
Yeah, you mentioned those rebounds, and you're one of the few forwards on this team. And with such a guard-heavy Gaucho roster, we expect to see you getting more minutes this year, possibly even as a starter. How has your role expanded as a veteran leader with only 6 Gauchos re-rostering following the previous season?
My role this year in conversations with Coach P and things like that is just to make sure that I'm leading these young guys. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, we only have 6 guys re-rostering, we only have 6 guys returning, and only a few of us out of that 6 actually played. I think only 3 of us got significant playing time. So when you're coming into a situation like that where there's not a lot of experience and it's a new team, you're going to need guys that are coming in there that have been there before and are talking guys through it, because it is a long season and not, these guys don't know what to expect because they're young. And so hopefully that's something that I bring consistently throughout these games, and as the season continues to wear on for these young guys, is a consistent, hey, let's get our heads together, let's get things straight, and let's keep battling. And I think that's my role on this team.
Yeah, and so as a veteran leader and all of those new 8 players, they're coming in, how do you develop team chemistry with those new guys and, with those veteran leaders as well?
I think the biggest thing that we've done with a new team, and this is all credit to Coach Pasternak, is we've done a lot of off-court team bonding. We went kayaking. We go to Coach P's house often to have, talks and play games and activities and kind of be around each other. And we have a natural vibe around this team and a natural, contagious love for each other. And it's really good, and hopefully that translates on the court as the season continues to go on and we continue to improve upon that, because we still got steps to make, because like you said, this is a new team. It's 8 new guys, and we've been together for a while since summer session A, those first 6 weeks, and then another 10 weeks in summer session B. But season is just a different monster. It's just a different monster. So hopefully it exposes what chemistry we really have and what's lacking once the season comes. Hopefully we figure that out, and we build and we repair those mistakes and continue to battle forward with that.
Yeah, hopefully you can carry that team chemistry forward into the season. Do you see any of those new players coming out and having an immediate impact when the season begins?
Man, I honestly, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, I think every single one of the guys that's coming in are going to be exciting for you guys to watch. we've got just they're electric. From DeVille Ramsey, who sat out last year, he might be the best point guard in this conference, in my opinion. He just brings so much leadership. He's so fast, and he's very direct. He knows what he's doing at all times. He keeps the team on their toes. It always, he's very good at saying what Coach P wants us to do. He'll call out a play. DeVille will run it for us, and we run it to a T. Whenever DeVille's on the floor, things go well. Armand Davis, sheesh. You guys came to a couple of practices. That kid can score. He scores at all levels, and he does it very well. He makes some of the toughest shots. I've never seen a player that makes tougher shots than Armand Davis. It's one hand in the face, two hands in the face, off the dribble, through screens. It doesn't matter. He's gonna score at will at any point, and he does it very well. Amadou Sal, highly touted freshman coming in, had all the accolades, all the offers, and he's going to be exciting. I think he's the freshman of the year in our conference. Ja'Cory McLaughlin, obviously he's played at a high level in the Pac-12, and he produced very well for Oregon State while he was there. And he's coming back from being injured throughout the summer, but he's continuing to get better every single day. He's very impressive. Zach Morris, a proven Division I basketball player as well, scored 11 points per game over at Seattle University while he was there. And, he scores the ball very well. He defends. And, we've got Sekou. It's just – we're excited for you guys, man. We're really excited for you guys to come see all these new guys play.
Yeah, we're certainly excited as well. And, are there any matchups that you're really looking forward to this season?
I think every game is going to be a great game for us, but I think one that we're all looking forward to is it's got to be the Washington game. When you play a team, like that's supposed to be as, big as Washington is supposed to be this year, and, they play that Syracuse zone, and they're long and they're athletic, and I think they're nationally ranked within the top 20 this year or something like that. It's a big game for us, and we're really excited to see what we have against a team like that.
And you had a first-hand look of the paradigm shift between former coach Bob Williams and current coach Joe Pasternak. Can you detail what that process was like and how that transition really affected the program as a whole?
I think that transition kind of went just as any type of situation like that would go. Obviously, the first thing that a lot of us probably thought was, besides who's this new head coach, what does he want from the team? What if he doesn't like the players? What if he's going to try and divide this team? But to Coach P's, credit, he did a really good job at easing us into that process and making it a lot easier for the coaches to get comfortable with his coaching staff, his culture, and what he expects out of the team. And he brought in great guys along with him. You're talking about Leland King. We're talking about Marcus Jackson. And those guys fit so well with the team that we already had. It was just so much easier for us to transition into that. And his culture was just a lot more centered around the players and making sure that we understood it was a player-run organization. This was a new era for the team, and it was something that, if we're going to be successful as a team, we need to start with the players, because you can get a new coaching staff and all that other things. We can run a new offense, but at the end of the day, it's up to those players to make sure that we're out there winning games. And he did a really good job at putting us first, and it made that transition a lot easier.
On top of that 16-win turnaround in Pasternak's first season, it was the largest in NCAA last year. What changes do you think were the most crucial to the team's success?
The biggest change was just the culture. We had a lot of success my freshman year here at UC Santa Barbara, but something just changed. It was a huge shift in the culture my sophomore year that just it didn't cook up a recipe for success for us. When we got the new coaching staff, his biggest thing was we're going to be detail-oriented, we're going to be disciplined, and we're going to be defense-oriented. And that mentality, whether we were having great defensive games or not, that mentality of being detail-oriented and making sure that every day in practice we are working our butts off, it translated well for our team. We were a young team that wanted to get up and run. We wanted to get up and run, score a lot of points, be nasty and things like that. And it, with the way he prepared us for every game, we just felt like we went into every single game knowing what the opposition was going to do, preparing for anything that they were going to change, just because we had such, a meticulous preparation process.
we saw the emergence of larger crowds at the Thunderdome last season during home games. How do you think those fans helped you guys to win the longest stretch of home games in UCSB history?
Well, I think one of the most beautiful things about sports, and any athlete is going to tell you this, whether they want to admit it or not, is nobody wants to play in front of an empty crowd. We practice every day in front of nobody. So we don't want to play in front of nobody. So when we get the opportunity to play in front of people, it makes you want to play harder, especially when you go to games and you notice that the home crowd is just they're there. People are in the crowd. They want to see people win. They've heard all this great stuff about your squad, and that energy is contagious. The energy and that feeling, there's nothing better than playing in front of a sold-out crowd. You want to give them reasons to come back, and so that alone helped us. We're like, hey guys, remember what it was like when we were 6-23 and nobody wanted to come to any of our games? Look into the crowd now. There's people there. They're packed games. Let's make sure that they keep coming back.
How do you think the team plans to continue their success this season after the departure of 4 or 5 starters?
I think it's just one of those tough things, losing 4 out of your starting 5 guys. But the biggest thing that we've done this year is understand our team's depth. It makes us compete a lot harder. Every single day in practice, coach is mentioning, we've got 10, 11, 12 guys that can play. You're not guaranteed playing time this year. We lost 4 or 5 starters. It's up to anybody. It's making guys really want to compete. And along with the process of just being competitive, we also have that detail. We have this thing called the gold standard, where every single one of your stats is calculated and given back to you at the end of practice, and it kind of gives you a gauge for how well you're doing. And that alone helps keep us competitive and keeps reminding us, hey, like if I'm messing up, I can keep sliding farther and farther down that totem pole.
They're keeping track.
Exactly. So that's basically, we just keep it competitive. Keep it competitive and give guys reasons to want to play hard, because everybody wants to get on the floor. And he is right. To Coach P's defense, he is 100% correct. We've got guys that can play. You never know. If you're going to play one game, you never know if you're not going to play the next. So I think that idea alone is keeping guys competitive and is going to keep us competitive as the season goes on.
Yeah, and you mentioned that competitive nature and so much depth on the team this year. For the first time since 2010, UC Santa Barbara is projected to finish in the #1 spot in the Big West. What would it mean for you in your senior season to lead this team to March Madness?
Man, everybody wants to go to the tournament, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that would be beautiful. Especially in my senior year, I've come to 2 different times in my career here at UC Santa Barbara where we've gone to the conference semis and we've gotten our heart broken. And there would be nothing better, no better way to have a send out in my last season than to help these guys get a ring. I think everybody wants to play for a ring. Everybody wants to play, in March Madness. Everybody wants to go dancing. And especially in a conference like this, when you're a mid-major school and it's a 1-bid league, it's tougher, but it makes it all the more sweeter when you win. So I like you said, man, there would be nothing greater than to have that be my send out. On my last season, it was kind of like my senior year in high school. We got to win a state championship on my last year. I would love nothing more than to kind of have that similar send out than to help these guys go to a tournament.
Yeah, and we would certainly love to be there too. We understand that you excelled so much in football in high school as well. How did you make that decision to ultimately follow basketball and hang up the cleats?
Yeah, football was my first love. My dad, college football player. My brothers, all football players, cousins, family members, And so that was my first love. Unfortunately, my dad told me after 9th grade, he was like, "You're getting tall, buddy. We think you might have to try something new." And I was playing basketball. I played basketball. That was like my second year of playing basketball at the time. I wasn't as good. But what actually inspired me to hang up the cleats and end up choosing basketball over a sport that I was better at, which was football. My junior high coach told me I would never make my high school basketball team. He told me I'd never go to college. So I worked my butt off every single day with my dad after during 8th grade and going into 9th grade to prove him wrong. I ended up being the first freshman ever on my varsity basketball team at my high school. And, things just kind of took off from there. I was like, this is kind of something I want to do. I understand everybody plays football in this family, but I think I want to, choose a different route and see where it takes me. And, I've been fortunate enough to land in beautiful Santa Barbara, California.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here, and we're really excited that you also ultimately you did choose basketball, because if you hadn't, you wouldn't have been here. But we know that your brother, he excels at football too, and he one of the best defensive backs in the country at the University of Utah. How was growing up with him? How have you guys pushed each other and helped each other improve at the games that you love, respectively?
We grew up in a competitive household. I grew up with just, for a good portion of my life with just me and my two brothers, and that's kind of all I had. But we were always competing. Him being the youngest, I have an older brother, I'm the middle child. We would always beat up on our younger brother, and that's turned him into, the monster that he is today. And watching him become who he is, having a little brother who's one of the best college football players in the country, it inspires your own drive and your own wanting to succeed, And for me, I want to succeed in very different things than he does. But, when it comes to our respective sports and athletically, he inspires me every single day, more than I think, I inspire him these days. He's his own self-motivation. But to see him doing the things that he does and do it well at the level that he's doing it at, it makes me want to continue to fight while I'm here and while I have as much time left in these knees and in this back, playing college basketball, to continue to get better and make him proud just as he's made me proud.
Thanks so much for your time, Jarriesse, and we really appreciate this interview. Great stuff.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.